Let's go! Welcome into twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. My name is Graham Day. And I'm glad you've all joined us today, Friday the 3rd of March. We absolutely love to see you all in the chat.
It's been a long day already.
I was going to say, what happened there, babe?
Yeah, it's been a long old day already. That's why we're doing it at this time.
Nice.
But yeah, welcome in.
How's your 3rd gone so far?
It needed pseudocreming.
Wee.
Nice.
If you're in the chat, please do feel free to say hi. It is Friday the 3rd of March, and we are bringing you not the 3rd or the 4th, but the 5th. It's supposed to be 5th, but with a 6th in there. The 5th episode of The Scoop this week. How are we all doing? If you're in the stream, please do feel free to say hello. If you don't know who we are, my name is Graham. This is Bib. This is Tito. I almost point. I mean, it's other Bib. There you go. There he goes. We are Ice Cream Uploads, and in true Ice Cream fashion, this is the Scoop, the UK's #1 video game podcast. If we do say so ourselves, we are live on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads, where we go live each and every single weekday to bring you the biggest, the best, and breaking stories from the world of video games. We'll give you our thoughts and impressions. We want to hear your thoughts and impressions, and then your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions. That's kind of how the whole thing works. If you are in the chat, please do feel free to get involved on behalf of everyone else that watches and listens on demand. And there's a lot of them. Almost 200,000 people have watched and listened to our podcast on demand. There's a video on YouTube, and an audio podcast on iTunes and Spotify and Amazon Music and Google Play, all of those places. So please do feel free to get involved on behalf of those beautiful people. A little reminder before we jump into the show, though, that we do have a subscriber giveaway taking place on Monday. We still need to decide what we're going to give away, Pip. We're going to do a game of choice.
Yeah, I think it has to be at this moment, yeah.
Nice. So if you are a sub to our channel and you are a sub on Monday at 3 p.m, we will do an export. That's UK time. We will do an export. Everyone that is a sub at 3 p.m. on Monday, their name will be taken in, as we do every single month, and as we've done every single month for about 3 years now. One person out of all of those subs will be chosen at random to bag themselves a prize, which this month will be a video game of your choice. If there's no video games that you want, then we could probably give you one of these Ice Cream Uploads blackout baseball caps.
Yeah.
Nice. I have a flat peak, like Bibby. Oh, Bibby's not wearing it because, he's understanding that curved peak is absolutely the way to play.
No,
so,
my flat peak's rotten now.
Is it?
Yeah, I played golf in it for like 18 months straight. Where it didn't matter what the weather was, so it's just a little bit tatty at this moment, which is why I'm wearing this one a little bit more.
Nice. So yeah, if you want a hat, we can sort you that out. If you want a game, we can sort you that out. All you have to do is be a sub on Monday and win the loot drop. Nice. Pirate Lou, hey, how you doing? Pirate Lou dropping the ICU logo in the chat, which reminds me that boom. I keep forgetting we have that one. Let's go. Let me jump back up and catch. Lotus was in nice and early with the oh hellos. Oh, that's how Baby says it, by the way, just in case you wouldn't.
That is exactly how my accent sounds.
I know, 100%. That and your cagoule and you're jumping around like. Dun, 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 dun.
I thought that might have tickled you this morning.
Check out Baby's Twitter at We've Got Baby if you don't know what I'm about. JMK says !time. The time is currently 2:31 and 10 seconds PM, which is basically 10 a.m. ish. Nice. Lotus says it's close, so we'll allow it. Thank you very much, Lotus. Iceman correcting us with the it says 3rd in the title, not 3rd. Nice. We got you, Iceman. We're just testing. We wanted you to feel involved, so there you go. You are now. So you're welcome. That's how good that's. See that forethought. Lovely. Nice. My team came in 3rd in the last ICU tourney. Let's go. How we doing, Pirate Lou? You did manage a big all 3rd place. Nice. Sheep. Hi, how you doing? Monday. Curve peak for the win. Lots knows. What game would you like, Beans? Imagine. Do you have Wolverine claws on your door, or am I seeing things? Yeah, they've been there forever. They have been there forever. They were on this before Christmas. And then when I put the Home Alone house on here at Christmas, they got moved up there. So it's Wolverine claws and a Logan/Wolverine dog tag. They've been in this setup since Wolverine was first announced at the State of Play thing about a year and a half ago. God damn it. Tarkov had an awesome update today. 25% less visual recall. Let's go. Still
need to play it.
Still, that's 25%. more shots that are not going to get landed. I thought you were talking to me. I was like, I hadn't typed. I just knew you was there. Do you know what? So Sheep EU can tell you this. When Sheep EU joined the chat, I asked Sheep EU if Sheep EU was indeed Sheep Fragger, but just decided on a rebrand. So there you go. Yeah. So you're not the only one that has thought that person was you. So yeah, there you go. Hi, sheep meet sheep. Nice. Let me jump into the split screen. Skadoosh. Last show of the week, babe.
It is the last show of the week,
and this is where we get to tell them for the first time.
Yes,
this will be the last show for 2 weeks ish, because it's the last show of this week, but then there's not going to be a show for next week either. So we're having a full week off, and do you know why? Because Bibby's not around, and I don't pull my weight. I know, it's just Bibby has a week off and I'm the one that's not pulling my weight. Yeah, all right, Graham. But yeah, no, so we're not going to do any scoopage tomorrow. Tomorrow? Well, we're definitely not going to do any scoopage tomorrow. I mean, unless you're planning to do some, because I know I ain't.
Absolutely not.
And then there won't be any scoops on Sunday either, funnily enough. Yes. But yeah, there will be no scoops next week. We will still have the gameplay stuff on Wednesday, Saturday. I don't know about Sunday, because are you away Sunday?
This Sunday.
As in, well, both Sundays, actually.
I'm not going to be anywhere this Sunday coming up, but I'll carve out some time. Like, because I'm off, I might have some more time to be able to do stuff, especially because it's meant to be like minus 6 degrees next week. So nice. The chances are I'm probably not going to be going out that often. So I might be able to carve out a couple of retro streams as and when, but they will be completely ad hoc because I've got a week off, so I'm not sending my son into nursery often next week.
You've got a week off? Oh, a little one. A week off. Anyone listening to this on the podcast, we're both looking off into the distance. The mics hadn't fucked up. The podcast is still here. It's good. Nice.
I did notice yesterday, by the way, that our new setup over there, for those of you that haven't seen it yet, today I am in the studio in set 1, that we call it. Graham is at home, but we have actually got a set 2, which you may have seen in the Royal Rumble. We've put old mics back in there, really good mics, but they don't have any VSTs or anything on them because obviously I only plugged them in yesterday. So the sound is great. It definitely could be better. So that's something that when I'm back in a week on Tuesday, that we can definitely sit down and go through. But the sound audio or the sound quality was mint. There was no bleeding at all. We can definitely tweak the sound to make it sound even crispier. Yeah, which is a good foundation.
Get rid of me coughing my lurgy as well. Yeah, that probably would help as a good baseline.
I remember to unmute all of these things.
Yeah. Scoop on Monday, so Beans can win his game? Question mark. Do you know? I'll just announce on Monday that Beans has won. We won't even export the names at 3 p.m. Yeah. I'll just say congrats, Beans, in the Discord. Let's go. So !Discord if you want to get involved with the loot drop, by the way. If you are a sub on Monday, !Discord, because all you need to do is be a sub to win. We used to have it so that you had to be a sub and be in the Discord so that only someone in the community could win. But long story short, Twitch and Discord had a little bit of a falling out. It made that proper difficult. So we just said, sack it. If you're a sub, you can win. But then to claim, you have to go into the Discord. And if you don't claim it within 48 hours, it rolls on to someone else. So on Monday, we will draw it in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord and you don't pipe up, someone else can go off and tell you if they want. And then you can just jump in the Discord after you've won. That's fine. But if you don't do it within 48 hours, then it moves on. It's just the rules.
Yeah,
rules
it's fair. I think that's super fair.
Yeah,
especially because we actually at people as well. It's not as if like we just put it in there and hope no one notices it. If they're in there, we at them.
Yeah.
If they're not in there, that's your problem.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, then we mention it in streams, although we're not going to stream until Wednesday evening, which is after that point. So there's not much we can do. So if you're not in the Discord and you win, it is what it is. Honestly though, the main reason we do that is not to catch people out. It's because we don't want, and I mean this in the nicest possible way, freeloaders to take advantage of the community. Because some of you guys...
Rigged.
This is bullshit. Rigged. Sorry,
Cheers
JMK.
for the reminder, Kappa.
Cheers for the reminder, Kappa. Thank you very much, Iceman. I appreciate that. Well, that's it. You had seen it for Monday, but no. The reason we do it is we don't want freeloaders to take advantage of the community, because some people throw down gifted subs like there is no tomorrow. And whether it's one sub or a bajillion sub, every gifted sub helps us, and also technically takes away from you guys in terms of the chances of winning the loot drop. So you gift us, which allows us to do things like the loot drop, but then lowers your chances of getting it, which is the absolute best example of a community spirit. Giving stuff away for the benefit of everyone else, knowing that it's not actually doing you any good. Actually, technically does you a little bit of harm. So knowing that, if we were to continue to just go, okay, we'll chase you, we'll save it, we'll give it definitely to you, and it could be someone that's never been in the stream, someone just does a random gifty and
Stay frosty, yeah.
Pirate Lou for the cause.
Kappa.
Oh, what a guy! Thank you very much for the cause. We appreciate that very, very much. And you're also in the cause. Let's go. But yeah, we don't want someone to throw down a gift there to someone that's never even been in the channel to then have them take away not only a gifted sub, despite never being in the channel, but then take away a prize that they never come and no one else gets it. So we give them 48 hours, because if they don't get it, we get another chance to give it back to someone that's actually part of the community. That's what it's about. So that's what it's about. Fair. I'm a freeloader and I'm taking advantage of this community. You are, Sheep. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. The thing is, though, Sheep, this is not the first time that you've been here. Hype training coming?
Stay frosty, yeah.
Oh, let's go! We've got Hype Train. Nice.
Hype Train, baby!
Captain Granite, thank you very much for that, dude. Oh, I appreciate that, tier 1. So we've got Iceman with a primer, Pirate Lou with a 5 months for the cause, and then Captain Granite throwing down as well. Thank you very much. And
maybe we need to tell people more often that we're not going to be here for a week.
Yeah, we're not going to be here for a week. Yay! Screw those guys. And just as that happens, Soph, thank you very much for the big old raid of 6. Thank you very much. I appreciate you very much. We were just talking about the fact that we're not going to be here next week for most of... Well, we are. We'll do the Wednesday evening stream. We'll do the weekend stream. But beyond that, it'll only be anything ad hoc. We're not going to have the scoops all next week. And as we say that, people start subbing to the channel. Okay, less content? I'm all for that. Let's go. So, yeah, we won't take that personally at all. It's just absolutely a dagger through the heart, but it's fine. How was the game, Soph? Was you poobiggy in? How's the pup as well, by the way? For those that don't know, Soph has a pup which absolutely looks gorgeous. I did do a little bit of doggy stalking on the weekend. It was worth it. We're not going to be here next week. Hype train! It's so true, it hurts.
You lot of bastards.
So yes, anyone that is a sub on Monday, remember, including Captain Granite, Pirate Lou, and Iceman, you will all be in the loot drop on Monday, and that will bag you a video game of your choice, obviously within reason. It's not going to be any £500 editions of video games, no special editions, just standard off-the-shelf sort of video game. If that's something on Steam, easy dubs, we can gift it you. If it's any other games that we can get codes for, nice. If not, it will find a way of getting it to you, even if it's just giving you the value of it in PSN or Xbox vouchers or whatever. But we'll sort it right here. Nice. Had a few wins, and Puppy Luna is growing fast. Yeah, Milo did for about 4 minutes, and then he hit his full size of about 3.5 inches. So, yeah.
Is he getting heavier, though?
He's a proper little chonk now, bless him. Yeah. Anyway, speaking about chonk, this episode will be a chonk if we don't start jumping into some news. So we do actually have a few stories for you. One of them, which we rolled over from yesterday. We were going to talk about it yesterday, but there's a lot of nuances to the story. It's such a weird one that I haven't read through the story either. So there's a lot of learning for me on the go. I know Bibby has multiple things that he wants to talk through on this, multiple angles to look at, should I say. But it's all new for me. It's about the fact that Just Dance, nice, and Gran Turismo, nice, and now Olympic sports-ish. So they're going to feature in the Olympics' latest stab at esports. That's an article by Tom Phillips at Eurogamer. We'll jump then into another Tom Phillips article talking about a US judge granting Microsoft access to internal Sony documents on the Activision Blizzard deal. Then we'll talk about Capcom having a digital event next week for multiple titles, and then we'll finish up with, well, Bibby's favourite day of the week, ! FF in the chat. Nice. Free Game Friday. But before we get to Free Game Friday, Bib,
Yes.
rumour has it that you fancy your hand at being an Olympian.
Oh, I mean, I've got gold medal. Gold medal? I have. Well, it is. It is metal. So I'll have some gold medal written all over me. Do you know what I mean? I deserve one hanging from around my neck. I've got the physique for it. I've got the mental and brain capacity, clearly, to be able to do that. What do you think?
If you missed what that was about, Bibby is basically just committed to a 24-hour Just Dance stream. Let's go! Before he denies it, let's jump into the article. Tom Phillips at Eurogamer says, Just Dance Gran Turismo featuring the Olympics' latest stab at esports. Lurk, going to adult and play with the puppy and decorating the kitchen. Ooh! Enjoy the decorating. I hate decorating. Hate it. But thank you very much for the raid stuff. And the Lurk, appreciate you very, very much. Enjoy Luna. Bye! For now, though, we will talk about this. Events will include dance, racing, and chess. Bibby just announced Olympic physique. Checks out. Goddamn right. I mean, hold it, Bib. Do it again.
Oh,
yeah, there we go. And back into the news. So the International Olympic Committee has announced that the Olympic esports series, an esports competition, which will feature a dance event using Just Dance and racing within Gran Turismo. 9 virtual sports will be featured, including archery, baseball, cycling, sailing, taekwondo, and tennis. Also, chess. Qualifying events will be held in various video games over the next few months. The IOC said before the first ever in-person finals event to be held in Singapore in June. This isn't the first time the IOC has tried to do esports. Back in 2021, it held the Olympic Virtual Series ahead of the delayed 2020 Tokyo Games. It featured 4 spots and failed to make much of an impression. This time around, the IOC is getting other game publishers involved. For example, Ubisoft is handling things with Just Dance and is selecting, quote, a talented pool of former Just Dance World Cup top athletes, end quote, who will get a direct invitation to the Singapore finals. Many of the events at the Olympic Esports Series will source their champions from the players of mobile apps. Cycling, for example, will be reimagined in Zwift, a massively multiplayer cycling and running app. Archery will be represented by new mobile app Tic Tac Bow, which combines the traditional requirement for accuracy with the choice of the classic pen and paper game Noughts and Crosses. Great. Tennis. Participants will be found via iPhone and Android title Tennis Class. Surely we could have had Wii Sports? Question mark. Tennis participant. Oh no, no. The quote: the Olympic movement brings people together in peaceful competition," said David Lapartient, chair of the IOC's Esports Liaison Group. Quote, the Olympic Esports Series 2023 is a continuation of that, with the ambition of creating more spaces to play for both players and fans of elite competition. We look forward to witnessing some of the world's best compete on the global stage, as well as exploring together shared opportunities and lessons across health and well-being, training and innovation. Qualification for the Olympic Esports Series 2023 is now open and will close on the 15th of May. The event's finals will be held in person in Singapore from the 23rd to the 25th of June. We can stop there. I don't think we need to go through any other bits. Mm-hmm. So, the Olympics, the crowning event for sports and athlete stars, is going to be contested across archery, baseball, cycling, sailing, taekwondo, tennis, and chess, with massive global esports behemoths like Just Dance. What do we get? Gran Turismo. Then we'll get Zwift, Tic Tac Bow, Tennis Clash. I mean, all I can hear is just the ching of money of these big names just drawing the crowds, right?
Wrong.
Oh no.
So, I did link you to a Frankie Ward tweet earlier over on Discord. She's had her 2 pence in there. For those of you that don't know who Frankie Ward is, she's probably one of the most famous, or shall we say, stage hosts for esports.
Yeah, she's a host slash presenter in the esports industry.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the leading ones, especially in the Europe sections. I'm not sure how many of the Americas events that they do or that she's done. But in terms of the Europe, she is definitely one of the leading women in esports. not just in the women's side of things, she's just fucking everywhere. I think she's hosting the gaming BAFTAs this year as well. So she definitely knows a thing or two about esports and where it's at. So she's had her 2 pence on it. She's linked to a tweet where someone called Jerome over on Twitter has said, I've tested the mobile games, Tennis Clash and Tic-Tac-Bow archery of the new Olympics esports series, and they are both fun, but both pay to win. You can upgrade your stuff and beat everyone more easily, but hopefully for the competition, everyone will also have an equal chance. And then someone has retweeted on the back of that called Jess, and she said that these are some of the best esports. These are some of the esports that will feature at the Olympics, and this is all in capitals, by the way. Who picked them? Who is in charge? I don't believe in cancel culture right now, but this might have to be time to change our belief because I'm about to start a protest out in the front of the damn Olympics. Someone else has replied to that tweet and stated that someone called Parks and stated some of these were made by the same Singapore-based studio that is connected to the Global Esports Federation and Olympic Esports. Tic-Tac-Bow was also released just a few weeks ago. The whole thing is just a way to sell apps.
Yikes.
So, yeah. So on the face of it, having esports at the Olympics, it sounds like a good idea. The games that you'd, consider to be part of the Olympics that you think, might be a little bit relevant. You could have any number of football games, for instance. You could have had eFootball, you could have had FIFA, you could have had basketball. That's obviously at the Olympics, and you could have had an NBA game in there. You got ice hockey. You could have had an NHL game in there. You could have had, I think it's like, is it 6-a-side football? I mean, American football. So you could have had the NCAA. Like you could have, there's so many other games that could have been in there that make sense to try and use. But instead they've gone for mobile games. I don't know, Graham. Like, I don't know where we go with this because this is literally making a mockery of what the esports competition could be like and how genuine it could have been to try and make this. I don't want to say global because the Olympics obviously is global. And to introduce esports into the Olympics, like people went mad when they started having skateboarding in there. And there was another sport that they introduced into the Olympics not long ago, and people thought, okay, that's probably not the kind of thing that you'd want in the Olympics, but we'll run with it anyway. But then to choose mobile games as part of the front and center for what esports could be in the future, it stinks to me. This is it feels rotten. It doesn't feel like something that you could potentially have as the center stage. I'm trying to think of a behemoth word, like the what you'd expect from like the Super Bowl or a World Cup, like that kind of global scale. But you're going to be doing that with what looks like a predatory mobile game.
Yeah, it should be absolute iconic. The headliner events kind of thing that you're on about. In that there should be that. If you're gonna go for esports into the Olympics, like there is a lot of sports in the world, and there's a lot of athletic pastimes, let's put it that way, in the world that have been adopted into the Olympics, but there's a lot more that haven't. And even like you can argue, rightly or wrongly, that there's shooting events in the Olympics. The shooting events, you're not running, you're not jumping, you are holding a piece of wood and metal or plastic or whatever it's made out of, and then you pop a trigger. But there is definitely some dexterity to it. Holding the gun, getting the fine millimeters difference between hitting the target and not hitting the target, or getting close to center and your other shot close to it as well. There is some intricacies in there, but people accept that pulling the trigger on a gun is fine. People accept that pulling back an arrow and pinging that into a board is fine. But the same level of intricacy, even more so in a lot of cases, applies to a lot of top-level esports. There's the team building, there's the communication. For games like CSGO and stuff like that, like same sort of thing. Hairline movements can change the entire game. So those should definitely, and no one can convince me differently that they are not esports. No, they are not as athletic as an Olympic sport. You cannot convince me. I've been to too many conferences. I've heard too many different opinions. And unless you give me some groundbreaking information that top esports lecturers and games industry content angles have given me over many years of working around esports, you cannot convince me, unless you bring something new to the table, that it's not at that level. Esports definitely should be in the Olympics, or should have something similar. If not be in the Olympics, an individual universal body looking after something like that. Pirate!
Eyes, 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 eyes.
Eyes. Thank you for 40 months. God damn.
It's his birthday today as well.
Mouth ratio? Wow, 40 months for 40 years. Wow.
Oh.
Ooh.
Happy birthday, Shagger.
Saying that, but it's got to be close. It's got to be proper close. It must be like 40, 43. I mean, it's 40 a couple of years ago, right? Love you, Parrot. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. So yes, the Olympics would benefit from having something. Oh. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Nice. The Olympics would benefit from having esports included. Definitely. From my perspective. There is all sorts of issues, though, because the International Olympics Committee, the IOC, is a governing body that represents the entire world and isn't governed out of the UK or out of America or out of France. It's meant to represent everyone. But when it comes to video game esports, there's like the IESF and all sorts of other things. Like I think there's like the Indonesian Esports Federation and Esports Wales, Esports UK, British Esports, and so on. And there's lots of different things that are trying to put their stamp on, trying to be the leading governing body to cover the world. Yeah. But it's basically people with motive that have their own ulterior motives that are trying to take control of things. And until we get something set that represents all of these people, like a UEFA, like a FIFA, or the IOC, but for esports, then we left with shit situations like this because nobody has sat down and gone, what do we think represents a good spread of esports? Because the Olympics, you will get people sat in a boat, people throwing pointy sticks, people spinning around with lumps of metal and seeing how far they can throw it, people picking up heavy lumps of metal and holding it above their head, people jumping over high bars, and people running around tracks, people running for fucking 24 fucking million hours and all sorts. Fucking hell, size of this moth, goddamn. Like the Olympics has so much scale. And arguably, so do the esports brands that they've put forward. But you, Bib, as someone that is an esports community manager coordinator, your job title has esports in it.
Yeah.
Would you have picked Zwift and Tic Tac Bow, one of which came out 5 minutes ago and is developed by someone closely linked with the organisation and therefore could be using the event and to advertise their brand? Would you have said those games represent the cutthroat top level of esports competition?
So Zwift, as far as I'm aware, it's actually something that I wanted to potentially get at home. It's just that the kit is super expensive. So Zwift is how do I say this? So, you know, like I've always wanted a golf simulator. So basically you have a projector that goes onto the wall, and then you'd have a piece of kit, whether or not it'd be a thermal camera above you that points down to the ball. So it measures how fast how fast you hit the ball, and then you'd have a camera at the side which will then measure the spin and the impact of your club hitting the ball. There's like one of those things, but it's for biking basically. So it's a mount that you put your back tire on, and it measures how fast you're going, and a load of other stuff that's way too complicated for me to even get. But all I know is if I have a real bike, I get this piece of equipment that goes onto my back tire and it measures me. It simulates me out on the street or in like a Tour de France or something. That then gets projected onto a PC somewhere, like in your front room, and then it's basically a simulator is what I'm trying to get at. So like a arcade club where you sat in the little cockpit and you've got your VR headset on and you've got the pedals, you've got the steering wheel. It's similar to that, but you're riding a real bike. You make a profile, it'll then tally up all of your stats. So if I was riding a bike, you was riding a bike, Tiny Yoda was riding a bike, your brother was riding a bike, depending on obviously how fit that we all are. If
Not very.
Tiny Yoda's way fitter than us, then they will probably win because they'll be able to ride a bike a lot further, a lot faster than we are. Those types of things. That's what Zwift is. So I will make an argument that probably is the right thing. It's an esports game. It's a game that you definitely can be very good at depending on how fit you are as a person. If you're very good at long distance riding and stuff, I would argument that is probably, you're not doing it in a velodrome, obviously, which is obviously part of the Olympic sport. No, it's not. Yeah, velodrome is the venue that we have in Manchester, in it. So I don't actually know what that's called, the bike racing that goes on inside there.
It's called the Magical Hoop.
Yeah, it's basically like NASCAR, but with bikes. That's the way I can describe it.
It's NAS bike.
Yeah, it's NAS bike. It's like that. But obviously, they're not going to do that. They need to do it computerized. So that, I can argue, would be a very good inclusion. Bobo Arrow or whatever it's called, absolutely not. I would much rather see Mario and Sonic at the bloody Olympics being played than this.
Velodrome is the track for cycling. So the reason we thought it wasn't is because we just called the one near us Velodrome.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, it is. That is the name for it. So you were right. Velodrome is the name. It's just the Manchester Velodrome. Just so
right. Okay. That makes sense then. So yeah, I would argue that is a very good inclusion because that actually measures your physical attributes in a video game environment, very much like if you was to play, I don't know, any kind of esports game, depending on how fit you are, how fast you are with your reflexes, and that they kind of can be tied in closely-ish. So argument forward, that's absolutely cool. I think that's mint.
See, I actually don't.
I don't. Shocking.
I actually don't, for slightly different reasons, because that's not esports. That's mirroring Olympic sports, and obviously, if you're putting a real bike on it, the bike that I have that's been in my shed for about 3 years since I last used it. It's probably not. It's about a year and a half since I last used it, but was about 250 quid from Halfords. I mean, let alone the fact that I'm not going to be able to compete. My bike will not be able to compete to someone that's sticking a 1,500 quid orange bike on their what's it called, Zwift sort of setup. So they're already ahead of me. So that's almost pay to win in that sort of sense. Plus, it's not esports. That's gamifying cycling at home. So
I think they do actually have an esports element of that. I don't think it's just. I understand where you're coming from, as in like it's. People are at a disadvantage and stuff, but I mean, the people who are buying that stuff because it's so expensive in the first place, I don't think are putting an £100 Halfords mountain bike on there. They've probably got
but is that esports though, or is that just like cycling? Is that not a very targeted what's the word, like enthusiast hobby? Because that's the difference for me. Esports is, I know you can argue the same for gaming, because obviously 500 quid for a console, but you could be spending 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever £1,000 on a PC, depending on how big you want it to be. So is that another enthusiast hobby? There is argument for it. The difference is the PC and the PlayStation and the Xbox and the Switch, or Wii Sports as it jokes about in this article, that is a console that exists for gaming specifically. And I feel like if you can't do it on the console default, so with a DualSense controller on your PS5 or with your Xbox controller, obviously if you get an aftermarket parts, whatever, fine, but if you can't do it by default with a console, I don't think it should be classed as esports. For me, I mean, obviously there's probably a very big debate there. I'm just going to throw out at that unfinished thought at this point in time, but like for me, I'm feeling okay, we want esports. Call of Duty is one of the biggest games in the world. Surely we've seen Call of Duty esports is a really big watched esport as well. So why are we not getting the creme de la creme of the Call of Duty League and building those into national teams or whatever? The London Royal Ravens, is that Valorant or is that Call of Duty? Is that Call of Duty League?
Yeah, it's Call of Duty, that,
yeah. So what, like, obviously they're based in London. They might not all be English players, but if there's 2 English players in the Royal Ravens and there's 1 English player in the LA Thieves and 1 English player in Optic or whatever, just throw them all together. Jobs are good. And go that way. That's kind of where I feel like it should be going. The issue is, though, is Call of Duty has the power and they can choose, why would I want you to put your event over the top of mine? Like the Call of Duty League, I've just invested years and had dodgy events in car parks that haven't been quite right, charged teams $25 million to sign on to create a franchise, for me to then put my event below yours. And that's where the difficulty kind of comes in. So the reason they've got Zwift and not Call of Duty, the reason they've got Tic-Tac-Bow and not other like archery sort of games, is because Tic-Tac-Bow and Zwift will be like, what, exposure in video games? Because we're not really video games. I know that's a shit statement, but for core gamers, they won't really be recognized as core esports. So the reason they are there is because they're not going to step on the toes of any esports, which then asks the question, if they're not going to step on the toes of esports, are they esports?
Yeah. Well, I don't even think it's that deep. I think they've gone, okay, well, what's an Olympic sport? Archery. Okay, is there any archery games out there? No. Okay, well, we'll find something that we can tie in there. Like, I think they've tried to replicate what's actually in the Olympics as a sport, and then try to go for a video game or a version of that. Like, it wouldn't have surprised me if they. I can name myself back.
No, it's because I took my headset off. I had a big old itch.
Oh, sorry. I was like, what's going on here? I thought my PC was failing or something.
No, your audio was like, rather than being ploughed into my ears, my headset was pretty much around the mic. So yeah, there you go.
It wouldn't have surprised me if they ended up including something like Tony Hawk's as a skateboarding element of
that's
esports.
fine by me though, because Tony Hawk Pro Skater is a proper game. I know that's such a fucking elitist thing to say.
Arcade game.
But it's a game that has done well enough in terms of electronic entertainment. Esports comes from electronic sports kind of thing. And I think this is where the IOC need to check themselves before they wreck themselves. Because nobody goes and plays Valorant because they want to be in the Olympics. Nobody goes and plays Overwatch because they want the same feeling that you get from doing a long jump. It's a completely different thing. And the IOC has, and this is a problem, you might actually remember, like Enix is in the chat, which is quite funny because he was at the conference when we were talking about it. We went to a conference at Media City in Manchester, Salford, Keys, and it was an esports sort of conference, and they were talking about this very subject, the IOC and so on. And there was like questions about, yeah, but would the IOC want any events that have guns in? Because the IOC is like, yeah, we're all pretty and healthy and sportsy and we're for the good of people, let's go. And shooting people is not that. And it's like, yeah, but then you're not after esports then. You're after digital versions of real world sports, which is not esports. It's Olympics. It's and that's the problem, is they're going, oh, we want to test your digital skills in an environment that nobody cares about. Oh, yeah, great. I mean, nobody goes, do you know what, I'm going to fire up Twitch. I'm going to go to the browse page because do you know what, I know Ice Cream uploads live on Twitch, but I'm not interested in that. I want to go and watch me some digital chess, some digital archery or whatever. Digital long jump. That's what I'm in the mood for today. Nobody, well, actually, people talking, I'll catch you with that. Nobody wants those experiences, and that's why people don't watch that. So this is the IOC doing that I'm rich, I love what I like, so everyone else is going to love it sort of idea stuff, where it's like, okay, people like the Olympics, yes they do. People like video games, yes they do. So let's not just speak to Olympics people and speak to video games people in their natural tongues. Let's speak to video games people in Olympics phrases. And it's like, nobody wants your tic-tac bullshit. Give us CSGO. Give us competitive PUBG. Naturally, obviously, I've got to get the word PUBG in somewhere. Give us any other video game that people actually watch, that get more viewers than most real-world sports do, and put those in the Olympics. Don't give us this other bullshit around it, because that's you trying to make your thing that you stay in control of with ultimate power. And that's the problem. It's not about giving us the best Olympic virtual series. It's about the IOC remaining in control of their own brand and trying to get more users. Because that's the other thing as well. The other thing that we saw at that conference was the IOC understands, and the reason they're doing esports stuff is not because it's cool, it's because esports will be contesting them for viewership. And for them to remain relevant, they need to speak to those people. And speaking to those people in their tongue helps. Speaking to those people with fucking Tic-Tac-Bow and Zwift won't. And that for me is the rub. Anyway, let me jump back up. I'm last, says David, when we're talking about the cycling and we're all going to be dead. It's funny that, because talking about racing, we will all be racing to get our names up for who would be last, because none of us believe in our own fitness. Let's go.
I believe in mine. I believe it won't last very long, but I believe in it nonetheless.
Zag says, who is he kidding? You are proper fit, not in the athletic way. Wink. Love you, Zag. Yeah. Must be a Carrera. My bike is a Carrera. Mm-hmm. Nice. An expert, the magical hoop. I bet you are 12. Playing Call of Duty on a bike? You crazy? Goddamn. London Royal Ravens is Call of Duty. Yeah. It's the violence in those games. It's why they don't put those types of games in. So that Rocket League, FIFA, eFootball, or other non. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. So they don't want shooters. They don't, like, Fortnite is a bit different in the fact that there is no blood or whatever, but they still don't want the violence element. So it's not you're killing a person. You're hitting a humanoid shape that disappears and then just drops guns on the floor. It's still the violence towards other people. That's what it's about. And these are the things that they need to get past before they can actually start to do some proper esportsy stuff. Because if not, you are doing competitive gaming. It's not esports. Esports exists, and what you're doing is your version of it. So it's not it. Your version of something is not something. Watching Rocket League at the Commonwealth, I was surprised how much I got into it. It can be very entertaining. Rocket League is fucking incredible when you see, like, people that know how to. I mean, it's great fun anyway, but when you see people that know how to properly play it and just fucking float through the air carrying a ball like a seal, you're like, what the fuck is this? Commonwealth Games was a failure. It kept changing the rules every 2 seconds. Parrot says, oh, I know, I was in it. Quite enjoy watching chess, feeling attacked. I mean, I wrote that just for you, Zag. Sorry, mate. But on some parts, it was kind of a success. Did show how some of the games could be used, but it needed more structure and more people who knew the games to set the rules and have everything set up. Yeah, exactly. Like, it was very, very... What's the word I want? There's an assumed authority from these committees, be it the Commonwealth committees or Olympic committees, and this is not talking about everyone, but this is a wide what's the word, tag that I'm going to throw across them all, is the fact that they have an assumed authority. We've been doing sports and events for years. We understand how to make it work. Yes, you do. But even if you've been doing esports events for years for Call of Duty, you do not know how to do esports events for FIFA. And even if you do know how to do FIFA, you do not know how to do esports events for eFootball. The intricacies of each game is incredibly different. And that's where the frustration would have come from you, Pirate, is eFootball, PES, inside out. As someone that's one of the most competitive, if not the most competitive player from UK PES history, then... yeah, you will see that inside out, and you will be seeing stuff that is absolutely blatantly obvious that they just wouldn't have considered. And that's the reason why there'll be rule changes, because they will have just assumed that they know what's best and not really known at all.
There's no one size fits all for esports in any stretch of the imagination, because, like I say, every single game is different, every community is different. You'll need different attention details for specific things. Like, there's no one size fits. So anyone. I can imagine some event staff might be a little naive in thinking that, but genuinely, like, it just doesn't work like that. It's completely different.
I mean, it sounds even worse than that from what I've just read of Pirate then. I think it also need a lot more people knowing how esports comps will be run, how it runs, and the complications going into it. And this is the most basic thing that anyone that has done any form of international event should know. For example, I knew that there would be issue with visas, etc. But the organisers didn't seem to think that there would be any issues getting players over. Little bit of naivety, I think, in the setup. I mean, that is bog standard. Anyone that's done an event that requires people from across Europe, and even more so if it's just outside of Europe, that's a problem. As soon as you start putting countries like Turkey in there, Russia in there, the Middle East in there, it becomes very difficult to have any sort of visas or anything there. And that
we've had players have to go to their local embassy to try and get some sort of clearance to get over to Europe and stuff.
Sending
like that.
over letters, going, they actually are competing in a proper event, by the way. I know it's not the Olympics, but it's actually a proper event.
Don't even get me started on anyone who's under 18. Like, that's an even bigger minefield when it comes to bringing people over for esports events.
Crazy. Yeah. So the fact that they didn't know that is that's comical. That just shows that it's the same thing again. It's that assumed. It's the ego. We're the Commonwealth. We're the IOC. I think we know how to do events and sports and competition. Thank you. Actually, I mean, I know you play video games, but we actually run the Olympics. So fuck off. It's that sort of situation. It's like. Yes, you do run the Olympics. Yes, possibly the biggest sporting event in the world because of the amount of athletes, the amount of countries, the fact that you need an entire village to house the competitors. No other sport really has that. Don't get me wrong. The World Cup brings a lot of people in and probably gets more eyes because football's, really fucking good boys. But football is then also within the Olympics, not quite to the same scale. But the Olympics as a spectacle, a showpiece, is bigger. Physically, technically, but what does it matter if you're not bringing people in with visas and so on? So, yeah. So if we bring esports into the Olympics, when it comes to the Paralympics, is this where noob gamers like me go take part? No. So are you calling Paralympians noobs, Zag? Is that what you're saying? It's a bit harsh. Yes. 100%. Fuck's sake. I had 6 or 7 in my group and had 3 drop out due to visa complications, which shows a day or so. It meant our group was ruined as a loss and you was basically out. So, okay. Yeah, a loss and you was basically... I get you now. So you don't have enough players in it. So... The gist of that for people that may not know how events run it. Imagine you've got 8 people competing, and some of those don't show up. It's basically 1 game each. So if you don't win all of your games, 2-3 games, however many, if you don't win, you're out. So yeah, 1 loss is enough to be. Oh, okay, that's it. You don't make the top 4. And it's like, there's only 5 of us. Yeah, well, you didn't make the top 4 because you lost 1 game. It's like, fuck. No chance to turn it around, which makes it a farce, which means you could have competed for months, weeks, years to get to this bit and not have the benefit of, just 1 game glitch, 1 person using an over-the-top through ball spam or whatever your meta is that year kind of thing. World Cup, Tour de France, much bigger. I mean, Tour de France... You might as well play Zwift.
I mean, how many people? I know there's obviously a lot of people who take part in the Tour de France, but in terms of people watching it, is it? I've never. Do you know what? Honest, I've never really watched it, so I have no idea.
Yeah, like Tour de France pulls in 20 to 30 people easy.
You know what? I need to Google this now because I have genuinely no idea. How many people?
Easy, maybe even 31 on a good day. Like that includes like obviously the people watching it at the event, like part of the staff. If you take those away, you're probably looking at 8 people, maybe 9.
You're never going to believe this.
Fuck off! It's going to be massive, isn't it?
You are never going to believe this.
What is it?
Apparently, in 2021, the Tour de France attracted a global audience of up to 150 million viewers. I mean, it is on terrestrial TV, so they don't have to have any kind of cable to be able to watch it, but really? Surely, are they counting people who skipped past it by accident? I just landed on ITV expecting to see Sunday brunch or something.
Yeah, this is what it is.
That seems excessive.
Yeah, that's what it is. No. What they're counting as their audience is they've just done one of those things where they've just included mobile download stats, and they've just taken they've taken the mobile downloads for every game that has the word tour, France, and in the middle. Nice. I've read that bit. Oh, no, I haven't read that bit. The way you explained that to us then, are you a member of the IOC? I am the IOC. It's funny. IOC, if you just chop off the top of the O and then move it after the C, it says ICU.
Hey.
There you go. Go on, Graham. Get your apology ready to me. Written would be welcome. I don't think so. Every big sponsor worldwide is involved. Scooby Doo shit. This I know. I told you. ICUOC. There you go. Fun fact, Zag. Have you ever seen the IOC on an ICU stream? We've not seen us in the same place. Now you know why. Do you know on that bombshell? Let's move ahead. Nice. So yeah, the IOC are having their latest stab at esports, and I'm gonna be brutally honest, I like to try and be creative and things like this. That just sounds shit, and I will not be watching any of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a bit ill. It's Friday, so I'm just going to be blunt. It's shit. No, thank you. Nice. Well, which one of you is pulling their mask off?
Excuse me.
On that bombshell, next story.
Hmm.
Sticking with Tom Phillips at Eurogamer, it says a US judge grants Microsoft access to internal Sony documents on the Activision Blizzard deal as the EU extends decision deadline following the Brussels hearing last week. So Microsoft has successfully won access to a trove of internal Sony documentation pertinent to its Activision Blizzard deal, something the PlayStation maker was fiercely opposed to. Sony has emerged as the acquisition's key opponent, and Microsoft is hoping this rule... I mean, emerged? Is that really a word? Sony has emerged as the key opponent? I mean, being Microsoft's key opponent, I think they were already there. But anyway, they're hoping this ruling will allow it to gain leverage with the US regulator ahead of its own judgment. A judge has now ruled that Microsoft can view Sony's communications with regulators about the Activision deal, as well as details of Sony's own exclusivity agreements with game publishers since 2019. Microsoft will now be able to see how Sony has approached regulators and argued against the deal from coming to pass, and view evidence of how Sony goes about securing its own exclusivity arrangements. The exclusivity of Activision Blizzard games, most notably Call of Duty, has been a key concern of Sony and financial regulators when discussing Microsoft's deal. Just yesterday, Xbox boss Phil Spencer revealed that Microsoft owning COD would mean the end of console exclusive DLC. That's not quite what he said, but yeah, nice. In a separate development on the other side of the pond, Europe's regulator has decided to extend its deadline to decide whether Microsoft's $69 billion Activision Blizzard buyout should go ahead. The European Commission will now reveal its judgment slightly later on the 25th of April. We'll stop there. Interesting. So Microsoft now can see shitloads of private stuff that PlayStation weren't expecting anyone to have a look at. Is that good news? Is that a bit of a shitty deal? Is it well played, GG's Microsoft, on absolutely establishing a coup? And then the follow-up, EU has extended their decision deadline. And I'm seeing tweets as recently as a couple of hours ago saying that the rumours are that EU are going to side in favour of Microsoft. Is it all looking like the beginning of the end for Sony's, we don't want Call of Duty to be on Microsoft's case, or what? What are your thoughts, babe?
I still think there's a long way to go in this. The fact that they have been granted access to be able to look into very, very private account documentation, I think this is just a start, because PlayStation will have known something like this might have been coming. I don't think this is as blindsided, some will have you believe, of Manchester City getting delivered the white papers to have all of their accounts being scrutinised. I don't think it's as, surprising as that. I think there's a long way to go with this, because I think Sony would have put some countermeasures in place for them to go, okay, well, you're looking into ours, let's look into theirs. You can't have it one way. I'm saying that they can't have it one way. Surely, if this is being put there, their lawyers will go, okay, well, if we're being forced to show our hand, surely they have to be forced to show theirs. If someone says no, they say, well, that's a double standard. Unless they've got a very good reason as to not be able to do that. That to me stinks as a little bit of a double standard. So I feel like, as I said, there's a long way to go in this one. You mentioned then about you've heard rumours in Europe that Microsoft, it's looking likely that they are going to be granted the Activision Blizzard merger. I'm hearing the same things. I'm also at the same time doubting them.
Yeah.
Again, this because I keep on saying it, but there is so much more at stake than just this. Them having their documentation being looked at. It's being blown wide open. But I don't even think we're halfway through what potentially could be the outcome of this, especially because deadlines keep on getting extended. Like, just when you think you're coming towards the end, you go, okay, new side mission here, go and have a look at this one. we could be here for. I think we could be here for another couple of months easily.
Yeah, I reckon so. I definitely think that's the case. I mean, just to point out as well, for those that don't know, even if the EU says, do you know what, we're going to extend our decision, or even if they go, do you know what, we'll go ahead with this is fine. So the EU's decision isn't going to be till the 25th of April. So that's the end of next month. So a couple months before they make their decision, then there's going to be some time for that to be enacted and so on. There's obviously a window where you can get appeals as well. So even if on the 25th of April, the EU said, no, this is fine, you can have it, PlayStation can go, okay, we appeal. And then if they don't like it, they can take it further up the chain and so on. That doesn't mean that the UK is involved in that. The CMA has a much harder stance than the EU has had so far. The CMA is the Competition and Markets Authority, and that is the UK governing body. And they are the ones that have put in some, I can't remember what the word is, but we'll just say some recommendations that they can put in place, like carving out Call of Duty so they can buy Activision Blizzard, but not Call of Duty, or so on and so on. So even if the EU did go with it, that doesn't necessarily bring the CMA on board, but the CMA could then go, do you know what, we've got a precedent, we'll follow suit. The only thing I would say is that the CMA have always been much more stricter than the EU, don't tend to follow suit just blindly, and obviously we're in a Brexit world. People want their own laws making. We don't want to just follow what the European laws do, so that could also have a thing of it as well. So interesting. It is interesting. I think with you saying though, will PlayStation hit back? I definitely think that's the case.
Yeah.
Because if we're seeing how PlayStation have had conversations regarding exclusivity agreements, PlayStation could be doing a similar sort of thing. If a game comes out on Xbox Game Pass for free, air quotes, obviously within the price of that, at the same day it comes out on PlayStation at full price, that's in some essences an exclusivity. It's not, but in the eyes of the law, PlayStation could probably argue that, which means we might start to see the same sort of information that we saw about Epic giveaway free game every week. Stay tuned for that, by the way. And we have found out how much they've paid a bunch of brands because of the Epic versus Apple case. We might see that. We might see how much Microsoft has paid to have Knockout City free on day one in Game Pass kind of thing. We might see how much it costs for other games to be put on. And that might start to tell a little bit of the tale of how beneficial Game Pass can be for brands and for us as consumers. Which, if PlayStation do start asking those questions, that is an interesting thing, because if we start to see how much money Microsoft is earning for Game Pass, that makes it very difficult. If they are earning a shitload of money on Game Pass, which is the bit that I feel like I'm still not sure they are. I feel like they will do over time, but at the moment it's probably they're not earning as much as they would if they were selling games off the shelf right now. That's what I believe. Obviously, don't have the evidence to back that up entirely, just inferred evidence. But if people see that Xbox are making money and they want to, in 2 years' time, go, actually, do you know you're £10 a month? We want to make it £14 a month. People might be like, but you're already making fucking a bajillion pounds already, so why would we want that? So it could come back to bite them. Good comment though from Jordan though, says Sony trying to block it but got denied on most stuff. Think it's game over when it shows Sony is pumping money to keep games off Xbox. I don't necessarily I feel like that's a gotcha. Like Tito mentioned it in the Discord as well. I don't feel like that's a gotcha. And it is quite ironic. I do have to comment on the fact that Tito, who we say as our resident Xbox guy, and Enix, who is our other resident Xbox guy, are the only two people that have mentioned that. It's shitty behaviour, but it's pure business. And it's not anything that Xbox wouldn't have done at all. So it sounds shitty when you boil it down to a soundbite. They're not trying to rip people off. They're trying to stop their opposition from getting an upper hand, which is business. Do you want it as a consumer? No. You want stuff for free everywhere. But free everywhere isn't possible. So in that sort of sense, it is what it is. Like PlayStation are the biggest brand. They have sold 12 million more consoles than Xbox have on the same generation. But Xbox have a much better and growing market offering right now with Game Pass.
Yeah.
So PlayStation want to upset that. It's understandable. By having Game Pass, Xbox are malicious towards PlayStation by giving away games for cheap so that they can't give them away at the price that they need to survive. That's malicious. It's all about perspective in that sort of sense. It is a dick move in the sphere of public opinion. Which is obviously the court of a public opinion is pretty much a lot of the time more severe than the actual courts, because people will just see it as okay, PlayStation bad, Xbox good, which obviously there's a lot more nuance than that. I mean, that's why Xbox TV got them squashed. It wasn't as bad as it was, really.
Yeah,
but
it was way ahead of the game.
Yeah, exactly. The court of public opinion, though, would have you believe that Xbox were greedy, nasty, and so on, so on, so on. And that's where PlayStation are now. So is it that bad? No, not really. Is it business? Yes, absolutely. But is it being soundbited? 100%. But could it be influential enough to kill it off? Absolutely. So there we go. The fact that Xbox don't stop people doing the load up gold subscription and then sign up for the £1 Ultimate Game Pass to convert, they don't care and must be making bank. No, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I feel like numbers is numbers. Numbers and narrative can help you make a story what you want it to be. If you can juke the stats, you can juke the stats. But this is not Xbox that we're talking about, though. It's Microsoft. Microsoft are one of 5 companies in the world that would be willing to step into video games that can absorb that level of financial tanking for a decade. Most companies would go, a year of that? Yeah, fuck that shit. Even Google is one of those 5 companies, gave up on Stadia because they thought, yeah, it's just not going to happen. I reckon Xbox, though, are seeing good things, seeing the green line, going in the right direction and going, okay, we'll stick with it. It'll be fine. We'll see how far we can go. But I think it is moving. There was some stats. I can't remember. It was over a year ago now, but it was, they were calculating how much profit you get from a game, and then you were attributing that to how much you get off the shelf sales at an RRP of 60 to 70 quid. Then there was calculating based off of fag packet maths using Epic Game like sales and how many numbers and what that leads to lifetime sales and what the value of a user is and so on. How many users you would need per month for Game Pass to be profitable. And it was like 500 million is what they needed to be able to pump out like AAA PlayStation rivaling banger games consistently.
Yeah.
They would need 500 million subscribers to be able to do that. And that's the thing. I'm not a massive PlayStation fanboy. I definitely align more to PlayStation, but do have an Xbox just there. And that's the only thing where I've seen someone, and that was an independent analyst as well, by the way, not PlayStation's like PR machine. Like PlayStation will go, no, definitely sell it. Yeah, exactly. PlayStation are like, no, selling the games is absolutely the best way to go. Phil Spencer goes, no, Game Pass is definitely profitable. But someone that was, I think it was Daniel Ahmad, Zed Huge X, or someone like that, basically said, yeah, you need to sell shitloads more games through shitloads more subscriptions through Game Pass before it makes enough money to make games first party consistently. So they need the third party stuff to prop it up, kind of thing. But the
way that I see it with this though is it costs it costs them nothing. It costs them nothing. I'll put in little speech marks next to it.
Air rabbits.
It costs what?
Air rabbits.
Air rabbits. There we go. We'll go with that. It costs them nothing to host their first party games over on Game Pass. Obviously, it does cost them. Because no one's paying the normal recommended retail price for them. But the games that they're putting, the first party games that they're putting on there are probably viable for a certain amount of time. Like people, they're not releasing enough of them to make it profitable for them, which is where the third party games come in, and they're paying companies to put games onto Game Pass. Now, unless you're breaking even and you have the right amount of people that are paying for your service, and I'm not talking about the guys that are loading up the Xbox Gold subscriptions and then converting them, because obviously they're making nothing off of those people. They're looking at the people like me who pay a monthly subscription to be able to have access to these things. They're the people that they need they need millions of those people to come in to try and prop up this, because if they're having to buy third-party content, that costs a hell of a lot more than it would be to put their first-party
I see
stuff
you
on there,
making
despite
this
them
up.
losing the
Worse than
£70 a
Microsoft.
game for their first-party stuff because no one's buying it outright. They just got access to it day one. So they'd need 6 people to go and get the monthly subscription compared to one person buying the game off a shelf. And that's where the conversion comes in between the first party and then the people who are that they're paying to have their third party content on there. That's where the disparity is. There's a massive gap between them that are being bridged by the amount of people that are subscribing to that service. But when the subscribers think, okay, there's probably nothing worth me playing on that platform at the moment, I'm going to give it a miss this month. I'm going to turn my auto renew off. I'll save myself a tenner. We're all good. And then they don't subscribe for 6 months because they still don't have anything worth playing on that platform. I'm saying hypothetically at this moment in time. I've been subscribed to Game Pass pretty much since its inception, whether or not it just be on console or on PC and console. I'm just saying hypothetically, if you was to not subscribe there for 6 months because there was nothing on there that you don't want, that's £60 worth of content that they're now missing out on. So it's a rock and a hard place that they're at. They don't have first-party games to put on there that people are clamoring to come back to and play every single day that keep their subscription going. But they're having to pay a fortune for the third-party content.
And that's the thing as well. Like, if you don't have that content, if people aren't playing that third-party content, because there's not any of it, but then they're not filling that up with first-party content, then the third parties, Ubisofts, your EAs, for now, your Activision Blizzards, are going to be like, okay, well, what are we putting the game on Game Pass for? Because a lot of people are coming off Game Pass. If we just, there's nothing on Game Pass right now. If we release our game right now, people will buy it. If we put it on Game Pass, people will buy into Game Pass for a couple of months. And that's where the rub is. Like, if Xbox are dropping Gears of War, Forza Horizon, and Halo, which they have all done recently, obviously we've got not proper Forza mainline game, but we've had 3 big Xbox games. We're already a couple of years away from those hitting again. So what are the big first-party games that are gone? I mean, they can pull something out of nowhere, like Hi-Fi Rush. Came out of nowhere. So it's a, I don't know, what, 5, 10, 15, 20-hour game that people have absolutely loved. But then that's 20 hours.
Atomic Heart's been put in there as well, which people have been raving about.
So they can bring little games, but these little games are not enough to prop up Game Pass and not enough to make EA go, well, we'll give you FIFA for free then. Job's a good one. So for me, the numbers don't stack in that sort of sense yet. I feel like they can do. But I feel like we may get some sort of like half and half stuff. We may start to get that advertising option like you get with Netflix, get a discounted version that comes with advertising.
That sucks so bad.
100%,
Imagine
100%.
that after like 45 minutes, you just go, okay, well, you got 30 seconds to save your progress or press pause because an advert's coming.
Yeah.
That would suck ass so bad.
Absolutely. Or when you're in FIFA, in the in-game lobbies, the game knows when you're hitting the menus, so then it loads up 30 seconds of adverts or something like that.
Oh, do you remember when UFC did that and they got fucking battered for it? Like adverts for the boys in between rounds.
Or it'll be, they'll have like some sort of cheaper tier where it'll be like, you'll be watching the podcast, me and Bibby are sat here, but this ice cream upload sign above me here will actually just be a rotating advert for Red Bull or something like that, or whatever they put in the game of it. I mean, I don't like that shit. I do not like that shit. I do not want that shit. But you'll start to see that sort of stuff coming in because I don't believe Xbox Game Pass can stand on its own and support Microsoft and gamers and developers yet. I do not believe that. Consistently, I think Microsoft are eating a lot of the cost there, or at least letting it eat into their profits. And if they're still making a profit, that doesn't mean that it's great. Even if they're still coming out with 10% profit, if they've got shareholders that want 50% profit, that 10% is not enough. So yeah, for me,
if they increase the revenue, it won't be the first time that they've increased the price of it.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if you don't get advertising, then you need to increase the cost. And if you don't increase the cost, then you need to increase the numbers. And it's one way or another you bring in extra revenue. So for me, I don't feel like it's. I don't feel like it's self-sustaining yet. I feel it's. Yeah. I mean, it's clearly enough for Xbox to keep plowing ahead with it. Microsoft to keep plowing ahead with it. I don't believe it is self-sustaining. The best thing about it, though, is I mean, I don't agree with Dobby there. Dobby, welcome in, Dobby. Master has given Dobby a sock. for me, I think Xbox Game Pass isn't a waste of money. I think it's phenomenal because I think the amount of, I mean, I have it, Xbox out there, not really using it, so how phenomenal is it? Well done, Graham, nice one. But
Still paying for it.
yeah, exactly true. The amount of content on it for the amount that it costs is phenomenal. If you use it all the time, like Spike in the past has said that he got to the point where he played what he wanted to play, there wasn't really much left, so he got rid of his subscription. Fine. But for someone fresh and new into it, it's an absolute bargain. If someone is looking into getting a new console and they don't have one, the easiest option is to get an Xbox with Game Pass. That's it. Yeah. Get yourself an Xbox Series X, Series S, whatever. We'll just say Series X to keep kind of price comparison. Series X versus a PS5. Series X with Game Pass gives you access to a bigger library, will keep you hooked for longer than a PS5 will. If people have got the legacy content and their games library and they care about shit like PlayStation Stars and whatever, it becomes a different conversation. But yeah, Game Pass for a brand new gamer is a better offering. Well, and that's because it's at mega value. Sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah. So, I mean, this could be a poll in the chat. Like, how many people are still paying monthly for their subscription to Xbox Game Pass or their Xbox Live Gold? It feels like when Xbox Live first came out, people was buying the year-long subscription. It was like £45. It was brilliant. I don't know anyone that's paying for their entire year up front now. They're having it as a monthly subscription along with their Amazon Prime and their Netflix, their Sky, their BT Sport, their Now TV, or whatever other shit subscription that they've got there. I don't know how many people nowadays, unless they're getting a deal like Jordan where they end up... so people were lumping up going, I bought 3 years and converted it. No one is paying the £100 up front just for a year. Graham did you?
6 months. It was Daniel that got it, but I'm that kind of person. So same with PS Plus. I buy it on Prime Day when it comes off. It's like 25%, 50% off, whatever, and I buy the full year in advance.
Right.
Or when I've had to do it a couple of times when I've been on stream and I've just gone to CD Keys or whatever and bought my full year and saved myself a tenner or something like that. So yeah, I do buy it in full because I know I can save myself a wedge of cash. It will cost me more now, and my bank account will look shit until the end of the month, but the rest of the year I'm like, happy birthday to you.
Yeah. So it's mental. Like I haven't paid it, but I have. In fact, I'm not going to out myself on this podcast. You know what I mean? I'm not going to out myself. Simmer down, baby. Don't fucking put yourself in prison tonight.
All right, settle down, baby. All right. You're talking too smart for me now, said Zag, jumping back a bit. Sorry, Zag. Nintendo are one company. They just don't seem to care about that market. They stick to their guns and make the strange different consoles and survive on Mario. They survive on Mario and Pokemon and Zelda, and then obviously all the Mario spin-offs like your Bowsers and Donkey Kongs and your Animal Crossings and stuff. Basically, Nintendo have built up strong IP, and that is what they survive on. They survive on their IP library. If they didn't have that IP library...
Big up Zelda.
Then, yeah, they would be absolutely kaput. And then we made Zag sub as well. I see you making me sub. Where's the Microsoft? Sorry.
It's the subtle hints. I mean, we're masters of that.
One of us. So, yeah, JMK says, yep, get Xbox Game Pass and then play Skyrim again. Let's go, baby!
I feel so attacked right now.
He's got an arrow to the heart, not a knife, but an arrow. So many people probably sub every month and only play twice a year. I am one of them. I mean, that is me right now, to be fair. I have been subbed since December. And how many games have I played on my Xbox Series X?
That's a good point. I bet you played more PUBG on your Series X than you have on any other game, right?
I have played one game. Two games. I've loaded up 2 games on my Series X. One of them was PUBG to look at spectator mode, so I didn't actually play it, so to speak. And the other one was FIFA to make sure it worked. Didn't actually play it. So I own a Series X. I have had 3.5 months of Game Pass and haven't played a single game. I have games installed for when I finish it, though. The downside is I also now have Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy, which I'm 20% into. I've still got 80% to go, so my Xbox is pretty much going to... My Game Pass is going to expire before I get a chance to play it. Let's go!
Better play some State of Decay before it disappears, then, eh?
I mean, I've got State of Decay already. I had that. I had a code for State of Decay when it came out first, which then got upgraded to the Juggernaut Edition, so got that already, mate. Yeah. Don't forget, Warlong came on Game Pass. Did he? Dirty guy. Oof.
Did that? I think I've seen that, and it didn't review very well. Did he only get like 2 stars on VGC?
I did see all of the thumbnails from the reviews yesterday, but didn't read any of them. I kept seeing Warlong while I was going, nope, it's not what I'm after. Flick, 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 flick. Didn't, so I couldn't tell you. I know that the reviews and stuff hit yesterday. It was in the news yesterday. Can't tell you how it did. Xbox Game Pass waste of money, says Dobby. What is it that makes you think that, Dobby? Have you played everything that's on there, or do you have like refined interests and so on? Because I mean, it's not universal for everyone. Chances are Game Pass will suit a lot, and probably the majority of people. But for some people, like Spike, for example, who wants football games, sports games, and Project Zomboid, for him, that's Big Zombie Monkey, by the way, on Twitch, he got rid of his Game Pass subscription because it wasn't really providing him with anything. He might have it back again now, I'm not sure. When you talk about sponsorship like that, I just think of the Talladega Nights when his whole car and windscreen is covered with sponsors.
Have you seen Talladega Nights?
I haven't, no.
Oh my god, it is world class. The old shake and bake. Oh yeah, it's brilliant.
90% of games are free day one on Game Pass. Spider-Man wasn't. The Last of Us Part 1 wasn't. Last of Us Part 2 wasn't. Miles Morales wasn't. God of War Ragnarok wasn't. Horizon Zero Dawn or Forbidden West weren't either. So,
I think Forbidden West is. Yeah, Forbidden West is on there now, in it a year after release.
Yeah, that's on, but not on Game Pass. I was just being a PlayStation to Xbox Game Pass now. Bed. Yeah, nice.
One of those guys.
Warlong just released on it. Lol, massive game title. Exactly. Going back to the £1 to try it. Perfect way to suck people in when they get it new. All these games for £1 is amazing. It is, like we always say, Xbox. So even though I feel like it's not sustainable, that's a great thing for the consumer. The fact that you are getting something that is being sold at a loss, effectively, is the best way for a consumer. You are getting something that is only positive. But the downside is obviously the status quo has to change. The seesaw has to move. You're on the up now, but soon the prices start drop on you, and then you start balancing out. And so on. So right now it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. Exclamation mark PS Plus, says JMK. We'll get one eventually. I paid for 3 years for 90 quid, says Jordan. I bought 3 years and converted, says Zag. I paid years for it and never played any of the games on it. All crap. Is that why? Going to do it the same with my kids, as I obviously have to get them it 100%. I paid the early PS when it was off on Black Friday. That's what I do. And I'll be doing the same for Game Pass now. Black Friday and Prime Day are the days to get it, because usually I know PlayStation Plus is usually 50% off, or was 50% off. I think PlayStation, because it's not for the players anymore, but for the payers now. I think the discount gets less every year. I won't be surprised if it's like, save 5% this year or something. So, but yeah, keep your eyes out for that. If you're paying for subscriptions, Black Friday and Prime Day are usually good times to go for it. Mm-hmm. I paid for a full year this year, £40 from CD Keys. I just did the 3 year thing because it saves me in the long run. Plus, if the ABK goes through, what is that? The Activision Blizzard? What's the K for? I don't understand. Nice. Whereas I paid like £180 and got 3 years of Game Pass Ultimate. Yeah, exactly. Skadoosh. Indie games too. A lot of indie games on Switch. I was a PC gamer. I bought an Xbox One S to play PUBG. Then I bought a Series X to play PUBG. I played a few different games since. No, I got an Xbox One S to play PUBG. And then it came out on PlayStation. So I jumped back to PlayStation and carried on playing it there. But I was playing it on PC as well. But apart from Bibby, who didn't want to play it, I just forced him to play it with me. Nobody else wanted to play much of it, so that's why I jumped back to PlayStation and Xbox and PlayStation. Dead Island soon, says Ads.
Yeah.
Warlong did really well. Average score of 82 on OpenCritic. I mean, is 82 really well? I mean, it sounds like just better than average to me. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just being a dick. I mean, 82 is a good score. Nice. No games interested me at all. If you say Game Pass 3 times in front of a mirror, I appear in chat. That's true. That is true. 100%. I think just in the last 10 years, games have gone downhill. Activision Blizzard, King. That's it, King. I always forget King's part of the deal. Yeah. Candy Crush, obviously. That's it. skadoosh, Activision Blizzard Candy Crush. That's what you could call it. I could have 20 different games to play at the same time now. It's like they bring one game out a year. I think the different thing is though is like it's the level of production, the time needed to create games and everything now, plus ongoing content, season passes, and all that sort of stuff. I believe there is a bigger gap now. I think you are kind of right, but there is a bigger gap. The better games are better. The worst games are worse. And that is air quotes better, air quotes worse. It's all subjective. Like the best game of all time might have come out 20 years ago for some people. I'm on about in terms of like what the games actually do. Some games are so vast and monumental. Even yesterday, we were getting a look at Spike's Project Zomboid, Monmouth County mod. By the way, if you are interested in a cool game to play, and you've got PC, Steam, and you're looking for something else, go check out Steam, Project Zomboid, and then Monmouth County. You can find the mod on Steam. Spike has literally spent a year and a half of his life putting into that. And that is a game that probably could have existed 20 years ago from the way it looks, in terms of the view of it. But in terms of what's there, probably not. But yeah, some games definitely are a bit tedious, but I do that. I'm firmly in the camp that video games have evolved massively over 20 years. There is a lot more expectation, which is why there's a lot more disappointment as well from video games. However, we'll put a pin in that and we'll just quickly look at our next story because we are way over for time. The next story is something we'll give you an update on. There we go. Andy Robinson at VGC. Capcom has confirmed its next digital event for next week. I mean, it kind of says it all, but we'll go through it. So Capcom Spotlight will feature news on Resident Evil 4, Mega Man Battle Network, Legacy Collection, and more. So Capcom will stream a 26-minute digital event next week featuring various upcoming games. It's announced. Capcom Spotlight will stream on Thursday, March the 29th, from 10:30 p.m. GMT, with a pre-show 20 minutes earlier. According to the publisher, the event will feature news on Resident Evil 4, Exo Primal, Monster Hunter Rise, Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection, and Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. Quote, "This is a digital event where we'll be sharing updates and new information about our upcoming games." That's really in-depth coverage. I'm glad they gave us that. Nice. We'll be sharing news and new stuff about new stuff. Nice. Cool. That's great. That's what I want to see. Excited, babe?
Very. I'm excited to see more Resident Evil 4 for sure.
Nice. Well, that will be next Thursday. We don't need to tell you more. We just needed to give you a little bit of a heads up. Whilst
18 months URGH.
18 months URGH. I'm not GH. I'm GD, mate. Ugh, he says. No. Nietzsche. That's double babies now. Twins. 18 months. Two babies. Hey, not two babies, but two babies. Not two babies, but two babies. Very different. Nice. Anyone Scottish in the chat, I apologise for massively offending you. But we'll jump into our next and final bit of news, which I'm not going to make Bibby sing it because 1, he's not at home. 2, he therefore won't have a guitar. And 3, we're out of time. This is your Epic Games Store free game Friday. Nice. So from March the 2nd, which was yesterday, to March the 9th, which is next Thursday, Rise of Industry is this week's free game on the Epic Games Store. Big week on the Epic Games Store for optimization enthusiasts. In Tycoon Simulator Rise of Industry, you'll step into the role of an early 20th century captain of industry, competing with rival Rockefellers in the making. You'll design and manage the production lines and transport networks of over 150 products, adapting to procedural maps with changing economic states and business landscapes. Does that sound like a Bibby game?
No, but it's going in my collection anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a great game, and it'll probably forget to be added to my collection, but I'll intend to do it and probably won't. Next week, Call of the Sea will be free. If you don't know what that is, neither do I. We'll find out next week. But that is it from us. A quick recap. We spoke about a selection of games that really shouldn't be in the Olympics, but are going to be in the Olympics. It sounds tragic as fuck, is the way I put it. It just does not sound good. There's no way I can be optimistic on that because I feel it's crap. It is crap.
Stinker.
Yeah. A US judge grants Microsoft access to Sony's internal documentation, which allows them to see all the secrets because Microsoft is evil and Sony is just better. Oh, wait, no, that's not what it says. That's not what it says at all. But I'll leave it with that anyway. If you want to see what we actually said, you can check out the show. Jump back. Capcom have what do they call it? A digital event next Thursday, 10:30 p.m. And we will bring you all of the updates from that. Not next week, because we're not going to be bringing you the scoop next week. We will be back a week on Monday. We will, however, be drawing the loot drop on Monday. So Nietzsche's 18 months has come just in time. Nice. Not sure that's how twins work. No, it absolutely is. Absolutely is. You put one in the oven, and then you just leave it to simmer, like rest a bit, and then you put the other one in the oven. That's literally how twins work. God, honestly. Someone's not done much biology. So yeah. Neat show, thank you for the 18 months. Zag for the 3 months. Pirate for 40 months. Soph with the big old raid of 6. Captain Granite, Pirate Lou, and Iceman for triggering the hype train as well, with a 1 month, a 5 month, and 17 months, respectively. I appreciate you all very, very much. You are wonderfully beautiful people. But for now, we are going to disappear. For the last time this week, this has been The Scoop. We will be back tomorrow, though, with some PUBG. And then on Sunday, with some, is it retro game time, babe?
Pass. We'll be definitely playing something. It most likely will be the retro stuff because I haven't checked this week. I'm not even switched my PlayStation on this week to find out whether or not the ranked mode has been included into PGA yet. So, yeah, I suppose you'll have to stay tuned. I will find out together.
Nice, sir.
Together.
Oh, just had baby laughing in my ear because I've just opened up the interwebs. Nice. Bye-bye, driver, says Neat Show. We are going to disappear, but before that happens, Mr. Bibb, what else you want to add?
Yes. Yeah. If you want to help, well, not really, no, because we're not going to be here next week. So if you want to help shape the show in a week's time, a week and a bit's time, you can find us on social media. We'll probably remind you before then anyway. But from my standpoint, I hope that you all have a fantastic weekend and also a fantastic week next week.
No. Fine. All right, then. I'll have a great
Fine.
time. I'll have a great time. Whatever. Dad Bod Joke says, a joke becomes a dad joke once it's become apparent. Hey!
Oh,
that's
brilliant.
Nice. That's great. That's great. Stick around for the raid. We're going to drop a raid on one of our friends. We're not quite sure what it is. We'll throw up the end slate and then we'll go from there. I mean, I kind of feel like we should do Iceman again just because he's pushing for affiliate. He's super close. He was on 2 point summit average viewers, and you need 3 the other day. I know we raided him the other day, but if we can just raid him and we can just go sit around there for however long you can keep a tab open, we can help someone get to affiliate status on Twitch, which is badass. So if you don't mind doing that, yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan. Okay, we're gonna nice. Nietzsche says Iceman agreed. Let's go. Okay, we'll drop a raid on Iceman, and we will see you at 10 a.m. ish tomorrow for some PUBG fun times. Myself, the Triggermeister, Nishwo. Uno, dos, tres. That's his Welsh version. Hey, Spanish really? Yeah. That's okay. Fine. Until next time.
Stay frosty!